I like to. This is my time to give you a state of the state, state of the organization, little talk. So that's what I'm doing right here, right now. So you'll have to wait to be patient to hear our wonderful keynote speaker. And I like to start with the state of me. So here's the state of me. This is how I introduce myself these days. I have now embraced all the isms there are to embrace that you all fund. I am a 64-year-old white woman from a small town in the Midwest. That sort of defines me, and I box twice a week. There you go. All right, but before I begin, I want to just point out to you the wonderful GIA staff, and I think that they're supposed to be in the room, and would you please stand when I call out your name. I'm really, really blessed to be working with this dynamic team of individuals. They are dedicated every day to taking care of you and to making GIA a better organization and a wonderfully fun place to work. That's our goal. So great folks, and I think we have a really strong team. Jan Bailey, our Director of Finance and Operation, who has done an amazing job trying to put together financial reports that the board can understand. This is all our goal, right? Noah Barnes, our membership manager. And I'm sure all of you who had any problems registering had some really great connection with Noah because he took care of lots of folks. Sujin Shan, our program manager, who takes care of all of our details and did all of the sessions. Steve Klein, our web and management manager, web and knowledge manager. He's back there at the computer. Kathy Lindenmeyer, our Director of Development and Membership, who you all hear from at least once a year. And then, of course, last but not least, Jim McDonald, Deputy Director and Director of Programs. And then I also want to recognize, I don't know if she is in the room, but Linda Mickelson, who is our conference planning person. She's been with us on a part-time basis doing our conferences for many years. So thank you, Linda. And then we have 3 fabulous volunteers this year. We have Laura, I can't even pronounce the first name. I did take a year of Spanish. Please, I'm so sorry. Okay, so here I go. Laura Guerrero Nieto. She'll be proud of me. She's not here in the room. She's in the registration desk. She's from the LA County Arts Commission. Sally Marquez from the City of LA Department of Cultural Affairs, and Kristen Pierce from the Arizona Commission on the Arts. Fabulous volunteers. Kristen and the other 2 gals are upstairs. Okay, so you have in front of you blue envelopes on every table, and what we need you to do is to open them up, and inside of them are census forms that we'd like you to fill out and put them back into the envelopes. They are, or you can do this. You can fill it out, or you can use your little cell phone and take a picture of the barcode and do it online, which we'd really prefer because then Noah doesn't have to enter all the data from those pieces of paper. So you could do that even later. You don't have to do that today. But we will collect these. We do this because many of you require us to do this. Can I say that one more time? We do this because many of you require us to do this. And so please take it seriously, fill it out. We try to follow the, U.S. Census questions and all that stuff. So thank you so much for doing that. Okay, so Grantmakers in the Arts. We seem to be having a very good year. Here we are at our largest conference ever. And are you having a good time? Good, that's good. GIA's mission is to be a national network of private, public, and corporate arts funders, providing leadership and service that advances and uses philanthropic and governmental resources to support the growth of arts and culture. That's our mission. Our work generally falls in 2 major areas of action. One is to reflect the field, and the other is to lead the field. As a reflection of activities of our members, the board has designated arts education, support for individual artists, financial health of nonprofit arts groups, and racial equity and arts philanthropy as 4 primary programming areas. In new initiatives, GIA takes on topical issues where there is leadership from the field, but where more needs to be done in terms of moving the agenda forward. In recent years, these have included cross-sector work, connecting the arts with a growing population of older adults, the expanding use of artists in healthcare, and the unique role of artists can play in mitigating societal issues such as climate change, social justice, and community livability. This year, GIA sponsored 2 national forums, and many of you folks were at those forums. In Minneapolis, funders and practitioners participated in Every Child, Every School, a discussion of the need for systemic change in education and the power of public policy involvement, passion of mine, in seeking that every child in every school has access to the arts. Yeah, amen. We also held a forum in Atlanta where funders and nonprofit leaders from Asian, Latin, African, Arab, and Native American Alana organizations came together to talk about racial equity and arts philanthropy. It was a powerful day of learning and sharing, and it shaped GIA's next steps in our racial equity work. Both of these forums are well documented on our website. So if you want to go to the website, you'll see the videos, you'll see the transcripts, and of the panels and of the keynote speakers. So we're pretty proud about that. We're going to do more of that in the future. We continue our policy work in Washington, D.C., advocating for enhanced focus on the arts in federal education policy through our Arts Education Funders Coalition. You too, if you're not a member, can be a member of the Arts Education Funders Coalition just by going on our website and signing up. Doesn't cost anything, and what happens is that when something goes on in the Arts Education Funders Coalition group, you get a notification about that. We had great success in this past year in placing the arts as central to a pre-K grants program administered by the Department of Education. The power of policy investment became clear when we succeeded in getting the arts into that $500 million program over 2 years, which provides funding to 18 states. And the arts are core to getting those grants into local communities. This $500 million that we got was represented by an investment of, and I just love this statistic. Okay, listen, you have to pay attention now. $500 million over 2 years. Arts are core to the grant criteria. You have to do it. Wasn't there before our folks went in and started talking to DOE. We invested 0.0008% to get $500 million. That's the power of investment in public policy work. Stop laughing at me. All right. So, fantastic. And we're currently working on the passage of the new Elementary and Secondary Education Act. We had a little bump in the road. We think that bump has been smoothed out. So you people who know what I'm talking about, we can talk about that later. All right. The area of individual artists. GIA is supporting a partnership that will develop its taxonomy. Remember the taxonomy? Well, if you don't, you can go on the website and look it up. So the taxonomy of grants to individual artists into a database to begin collecting this information, currently not being collected by anyone. There is no national database that says U.S. funders give money to individual artists. What kind of artists are they? How much money is it? What kind of programs are there? No one collects that data. But we are currently working with a couple universities that may be able to take over that taxonomy and actually create the technical mechanism by which you will be able to input something in a friendly manner. That's kind of critical here. In a friendly manner that we'll be able to have as an ongoing database so that we can collect that information. Responding to the field, we will also convene a forum in 2016 that will bring together artists and funders looking at supporting artists working in community settings across sectors. These artists can be best served by our knowledge of their infrastructure and training needs and how we can intersect with aging, with health, with science, and other sectors that are seeking creative input. There's no question in my mind that other sectors are looking to us now for help and for creative infusion. And we need to figure out what the infrastructure is and how we support artists to do that. So we're going to do a little thought leader forum around that work this year. We've also been producing conversations on capitalization and community workshops in, now for the past 3 years, we've done 17 cities. And in 2015, we added workshops for grantees. So in 3 locations this past year, we presented these workshops to over 400 nonprofit organizations and separately provided the same information to funders in the same community. And it was fantastic. We did them in Chicago and in Seattle and in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yes! I'm not on too many planes, really? Okay, and they were all successful. It was really great to have that conversation in the morning with one group and then in the afternoon with another. And the same conversation, saying the same things, and hopefully we're all communicating the same way about what capitalization means. So our message of cash reserves and limited endowments and appropriate overhead and salaries in grant requests and general operating support has resonated in every community that we've gone to, and we have great evaluations for that program. In March, GIA released its Statement of Purpose for Racial Equity in Arts Philanthropy. Yay! It was a bold statement, and it was 5 years in the writing. But we continue to get positive feedback from our peers and from your grantees. Our work is far from over, and in fact, we are using what we've learned over the past 5 years and with our forum and the reactions to the Statement of Purpose to formulate what we can do in the next few years. One of those things will be that is to do some research that will inform a new workshop that GIA will offer in 2017 for communities of funders to help them address the successes and challenges of achieving racial equity in arts philanthropy and what that means. What does it mean? What does racial equity mean? What does racial equity in arts philanthropy mean? Hopefully we're going to try and knock that out this year and have something for you in 2017. This is a national discussion, but, and I come from a little community and communities, this is a national discussion, but it is ultimately a local issue where people in communities will find solutions by working together. And that's why we don't want to do one big workshop here for all of you. We want to do it, we want to come into your community and have you talk about and help you to facilitate the discussion about what's happening in your community. So we'll see how that goes. GIA also continues to grow our communications tools. In 2016, we will redesign our website. That's pretty exciting, isn't it? New website. Our web conferences and our digital learning tools. The Reader, which appears in print and online, drives our information and our research and our opinions. Our readership of articles, since going digital with the Reader, is well over 500,000. We can do more. Don't tell my staff that. Okay, I'm just telling you guys this. My staff is not listening. We can do more. But we can only do it with your input. We encourage your involvement. We want to spread the word about your research, about your programs. We want you to write for the Reader. We want you to participate in our forums, workshops, and our conferences. One funder cannot change the world. That's why we have this community of practice. And we are indeed better together. So, okay. One funder cannot change the world. I'll say what will say what I wrote. Sorry, this is bad when I go off script. Okay, one funder cannot change the world, and together we can make cultural change that will improve the lives of artists and the health of arts organizations, and by doing so, improve the lives of every human being they touch. That's our goal. This year, we have two individuals who have touched the lives of many of us, who will leave the GIA board after 6 years of service, which is a lot of service, 6 years, a lot of board meetings, a lot of traveling. Both have made a lasting impact on the organization. They are John McGurk from the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation, and Justin Lang from the Heinz Endowment. So before you get too excited, just wait till I have some things to say about them. No. John was the first person to answer our plea at Grantmakers in the Arts to understand why our conference was undercapitalized. This was many years ago. So he answered my plea, and our problem was we were never capitalizing the conference because we weren't raising money for overhead and salaries. We only raised the money that we needed to write checks for that went directly to this. Really, really not a good capitalization principle on our part. So whatever year that was, I went to John and said, is when we started our capitalization work, which he was very supportive of, and said, we're going to be in San Francisco, John. This is how much money we need to really, over and above what we usually raise, in order to capitalize this conference. And John said, I will work on that. And indeed he did, and gave us the money that we needed to capitalize the conference properly, to break even, actually, and have the money that we needed for our overhead and our salaries and our benefits that go into planning this very big conference, which is our largest program. And others followed suit after him. So to that, John, I am very grateful, because our stability, financial stability as an association today, I will credit completely to John McGurk. And to the fact that that John's understanding of public policy and the work that and the support that they have given us for our work in Washington, D.C. has been truly in a leadership position there, and we're very grateful for that too, John. Because that was a new step for GIA. What? Hire a lobbyist? What? I love that. When my lobbyist calls me, I was like, excuse me, it's my lobbyist. Nothing makes me happier, nothing. And then there's Justin Lang. So, Justin has served on the executive committee, as has John, and as an officer for GIA for several years. He was chair of our first Racial Equity Thought Leader Forum, and it was through his guidance and his, this is commas, between commas, somewhat annoying persistence. Yeah, I know you do. I know. To do the right thing, the persistence to do the right thing, that GIA is where it is today. We have elevated this work beyond the language of diversity and inclusion to what I believe is truly beginning to integrate racial equity into the subconscious of the organization. We are currently working on, we have an RFP out for a racial equity audit that will look at the organization's internal policies and external communications. I'm almost done. Okay, sorry. He was not alone in this work, and our Board Racial Equity Committee will continue through the great leadership of Maureen Knighton and Angelique Power and lots of folks who were on that committee. But it was Justin who led me to believe early that it was structural racism that was the greatest deterrent to equity. And so our Thought Leader Forum for Social Justice, planned in 2011, focused on racial equity in arts philanthropy. And at that point, our two very worlds came together. So I'm going to formally thank him, Justin Lang.